Well, you're Stephen Frost again. You still are. Huh?
Indeed.
Well, Stephen, it's so neat what you did on Kickstarter, and with your comic book. And this is the first comic book you made?
That is correct. Yeah, this is my first foray into comics.
Yeah. And you're really like a video game producer? Is that what you do normally in your day job?
Yeah, my day job is I'm a video game producer at Carbine Studios. We're working on a game called WildStar. It's a
I gotta get a little plug in there.
Yeah, just gonna put that in. Yeah, great game. It's coming out soon, but we're working diligently right now to get that out. But yeah, Mortifair is my free time passion, what I love to do when I'm not at work stuff.
Is comic books, and Kickstarter gave you that platform to get your money to do it. How else would you have gotten money, or how else do people do that if you didn't use Kickstarter?
Man, I don't know.
Really, it just wouldn't happen, huh?
Yeah, it's comic books are a very rough medium to get something rolling anyway. And I think Kickstarter is great because you can go to people that are that demographic of people have really latched on to Kickstarter. So that's a great target audience.
The comic book people are hanging around Kickstarter, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Now, how much do you feel that, because the people I talk to say, boy, you really have to market yourself, like to your lists and create lists and find out and things like that. I mean, does business also come in because, or you're just on Kickstarter, people browsing Kickstarter and give you money?
Yeah, what's great is Kickstarter also has metrics as to where the money kind of comes in from or where it leads from. So, some are external, like some people will post on their Facebook, hey, I just donated to Mortifair, check it out. But, a lot of it is people just kind of browsing through and seeing what's out there.
Well, that's interesting. So that way, when somebody donates, I mean, if I buy something from Amazon, I'm not telling everybody else about it, right?
Right. Yeah, this one, it's kind of it also has a community, whereas, Amazon isn't something where you go on there and you're like telling your buddies that happen to be on there too, oh man, I just bought this, you should check it out.
Yeah.
Kickstarter has a community. There's a bunch of people that are just Kickstarter nuts that just hang out there and want to look for new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I sort of get a sense that people, it's like a shopping mall for people. They find new, neat stuff that's not out yet. Hey, I want that, man. Yeah, and be in the ground floor. So they're investors and customers.
That is correct. Yeah, it's great too because we were also lucky enough to be a staff pick from them. We had submitted.
What does that mean? What is a staff pick?
Well, it just means that they like what we have to offer, basically.
Okay.
And they made that's like the recommendation from the staff.
Oh.
That basically says like, hey, you should check these guys out because they have something
cool. Yeah, that's cool. So like at the bookstore, the staff recommendations.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it was the same thing. That's definitely another spot where we got revenue from. And we also got picked up by other websites, by us going out and marketing and saying, hey, by the way, we have a Kickstarter. Check it out. Yeah. We've made this much. So
that's nice.
That's what.
So that seems like the way it has to be. It's how much work you're going to promote your stuff throughout the world.
Most definitely. Yeah. I think that luckily there's already a built-in base of people that will look at stuff. But it's also going out to, if you're a tech person and you have some sort of new invention that you're putting out there, it's probably good to go to bloggers or websites about those things and say, hey, look at this new cool thing that I have here on Kickstarter. You should totally run this on your site.
I mean, they got to put something on their site, right? So it might as well be your stuff.
Right. And I mean, you won't get 100% retention on that. You won't go to every single one and they're like, yes, we'll post it. But, on occasion you'll get a couple.
It's a numbers game like dating, huh? Right.
Exactly.
You got to ask enough out, and somebody can finally go out with it.
Somebody will say yes eventually. Yeah, exactly.
You have 3 more days till the prom. Don't worry.
Exactly.
And so now, what happens? I mean, you wanted 7 and you got 15. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, to double your money, that you expected. So what happens with the extra money? You going to Acapulco or what?
I doubt it. Here's the thing. When you start a Kickstarter, you have to take into consideration that you have to cover the costs of mailing your physical goods, creating the goods themselves. It's great that we made double, but we also, on Kickstarter, there's a big fad right now. If you meet your goal, you have stretch goals.
Stretch goals.
So we had $7,000 was our goal, but after that, to get more people incentivized to help kind of push it, we said, okay, if you paid $35, you would get, a poster and, just a soft cover book. But if we make 13 grand, we'll make it a hardcover book.
For all the people. So it's
all
a
the
way
people
to
that
keep the money coming in with another incentive.
Yeah, exactly. That way
you add just two knives to the thing.
Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. So then they go, oh, I want hardcover. I don't want to get this paperback crap. So they just get their friends to donate to it. So that we did that, but that means that's going to cost more money, and we have to ship that stuff out. And we went into this not looking to make a profit so much as, to get the word out, to get, it's a kickstart, right? It's just
hence
you
the
started.
name, right? So you and the artist lost a job, right? you were in a company, was it a video game company?
It was, it was a video game company. So you and the
artist, you're out of work, and you say, hey, let's go to the barn and start our own? Is that how this started?
We didn't have a barn, but we did have, I kind of had this idea in my head for a long time, but I never had the time to really sit down and say, like, I'm going to flesh this out.
Being out of work gave you some time.
I had some free time now that I didn't have to work 40 to 60 hours a week. And then after that, I just basically went to her and said, I have this idea. What do you think? And she loved it. And so we just kind of started creating it. Yeah, we got really lucky there.
So you do the storyline and she does the graphics. Is that it?
That is it. Yeah, I basically came up with the idea and I wrote, all the dialogue and kind of had the background and mapped out the whole story. And I basically, it's like a script for a movie. I just kind of handed it to her, and then she just put it in visual form.
Wow. So what's next? Yeah. I mean, now you have. So you got the money. You're going to be a comic book producer now. You're going to have your comic book out, and will you sell it on the web, or is there other distribution channels, or what does it look like?
So a couple of things. We're definitely going to sell it on the web. I'll sell it probably through something like PayPal or Amazon or something like that. And then the goal after that would probably be to start going after comic book publishers and saying, hey, look what I did on my own.
Right.
Imagine if I had your distribution.
I see.
You could get like a percentage of that, and here's already 1,000 books or whatever we're going to print,
right?
So that they can just distribute that way. But even if that doesn't work, we'll just go the online route.
Is that still a goal? I mean, like, tell you the truth, I made more money when I didn't have New York publishers. I did 12 books of people in New York. Then I got rid of them and went direct, and made so much more money.
Well, see, that it's possible. You kind of have to look at it because originally we did have a publisher, but they weren't releasing the content fast enough, in my opinion. So I kind of said, hey, let me just kind of do this on my own, and they said, yeah, that's fine, do your thing. And basically after that, I kind of thought like, I could do this myself. The only really thing was. The only difference or reason that I would care to get a publisher now would be if they have more distribution that I could get my hands on.
No, you're right. I mean, the big guys they hold all the distribution.
Right. That's exactly it.
And so that's the way they keep in the game, I guess, and will. But I don't know if that's going to slowly change. You never know. I mean, look at you. You couldn't have done this 5 years ago, right, without a Kickstarter or whatever. So that gave you a toehold. So now as more people hang around, Kickstarter and places like that to get used to buying comics as opposed to going to 7-Eleven or wherever the heck they've been picking them up. These big guys may be coming to you, because to fill their distribution channel. Yeah. Well,
certainly.
Yeah, I think you're teaching a lot of people a lot of good stuff about how to do this and how to do things, for themselves in life and take their idea and run with it. We got a lot of crap out there now we don't need. So.
Well, and that's the great thing about Kickstarter is you don't have a filter. A lot of times when you'll even know through having a publisher, they'll have their agenda and their ideas and what they want to have in your content. But Kickstarter, this is all Sarah and I. This is just us, and I love that.
Yeah, well, to me, it eliminates the gatekeeper to that, and it eliminates a step in the process. Because if you sold this to a publisher, then they have to publish it and then figure out if someone's going to buy it.
Right.
So you cut that step out. You went, right, hey, you guys want to buy this? Yeah. Okay, give me money, I'll do it.
Right. No,
and
exactly.
it's, that's what I mean. What do you need these people for?
Very true.
And that's why most publishers, I mean, when I was in book business, it was 1 out of 100 books. They'd take 100 titles because they didn't know what worked, and hoping to make it on some big one, So you don't have to invest that way like they do, because they have to fill the distribution. You just go right to customers, hey, would you pay for that? And they say yes, then you get the money and you do it. If they say no, you think of another idea.
And what's crazy too is even big business now is getting into this. The Veronica Mars Kickstarter that just happened, that was $2 million in a day.
Wow,
for a TV show.
That's like home shopping. Yeah.
Yeah, no, crazy huge. And it was just because they wanted to make a movie, and the studio said, "We're not going to make it. Why don't you take it to Kickstarter? See if you can."
Wow.
And so there are a lot of The Goon is another one that was a comic book that they wanted to make into a movie.
Wow.
And they just came to there and made like $400,000.
Wow.
So
terrific.
It's just crazy.
Well, I'm sure I'm going to see your next thing on Kickstarter for 400,000 or 2 million or whatever it is.
I certainly hope so. Yeah.
So Stephen Frost, and the website is Mortafera.net.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing all this, Stephen. I hope we excited some people to go out and do some stuff. A lot of stuff to do.
Me too. Thank you, Mr. Lesko, for having me on.
Mr. Lesko, that's my dad. He died long ago. Matthew, hi.